Gone.
We're there.
Evening.
We're there. Good evening, Damien.
Brian. Patrick.
Good evening, Patrick.
Brian.
Or Paddy. Which do you prefer?
Paddy will do for this evening. I'm not in
Okay.
a tuck, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's only me and his mum who call him Patrick, apparently. So.
Yeah.
Damien, vocal and guitar.
Yeah, I'm on, yeah. And,
Yeah, Snake Invasion. Paddy, guitar and vocal.
Guitar and a bit of mumbling, yeah.
St.Pierre Snake Invasion. Welcome to the Afghan. Welcome
Thank you very
to
much.
Goth Kitchen
Love it.
in sunny Southend in Essex,
Lovely.
somewhere where you've sung about more than once,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about later.
Wicked.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. First of all, let me start off by telling everyone where you are, how are you, and what have you been doing today? Paddy, do you want to go first?
Hello. I'm currently at home in Downend, just in the music room with the best internet connection in the house, hopefully. And today I have been making a fish filter and getting covered. And
Oh, of
stinking
course.
like
Yeah.
fish.
How's that going?
That's yeah, it's quite wet and stinky. Yeah,
You getting koi?
yeah, they're in there already.
Are they
somewhere.
really? Amazing.
Yeah,
This is for an outside pond.
yeah. I've got an outside pond in the house. Not in
clear
the
that
house. At the house, there is an outside pond.
Right.
Paddy's house is amazing.
It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to figure all that out, and I know nothing about fish, so I've had like a 2-week YouTube course of just watching people kill fish, and then going, "Don't do it that way." So, yeah, should be done.
Why? Hold on, I'm confused. Why, if you're going to keep fish in your garden, why are you watching videos about killing them?
Well, how not to do it, basically. There's supposed
Okay.
to be there's supposed to be videos on how to keep them alive. But,
Oh, right, okay.
I've watched a few.
You said keep them,
Well,
I
that
thought you said
hasn't
kill
turned out
them.
very
Fair
well.
enough. Damien.
I am in Brislington, which is a little bit up more market than Downend. In Bristol, I'm in my spare room, come studio, and I say studio in the looser sense of the terms. And I've been working today, so my office is reopened, so I've been in work in Clifton.
By the bridge.
Yeah, not too far from the bridge, up on the Clifton Triangle. Yeah, so yeah, just a normal bog standard day. Yeah, nothing.
Thank you very much. So we're going to talk about your band very briefly for a bit, and then we'll finish up with a quick fire. So, Damien, if for someone that's watching this that's never heard the band before, can you describe to me the sound of the St.Pierre Snake Invasion?
With words or with mouth noise? Yeah, so no.
Words.
Yeah, I don't know. I think every band thinks that they're difficult to pigeonhole, don't they? And like it's almost a cliche. They're like, yeah, we don't sound like anyone else. But I think it's quite hard to pin us down to like a particular genre. But I think post-hardcore, if you like bands like, I don't know, the Chariot and Refused and the Bronx and McCluskey, it's that type of stuff. But I'd say it's like heavier than well, I mean, I'm just assuming, making assumptions now that we're heavier than most of the bands that people in the Afghan listen to, but that could be me just being a prick. But yeah, we're quite heavy, energetic. I mean,
Because it's changed quite. I think it's changed quite a bit. It's got heavier.
Yeah, it has. I mean, look, when we started, they were supposed to. When I started writing demos with St. Pierre, there were kind of 3 iterations of the band already. I had a thing where there were no rules as to what songs I was going to write. So a batch came out which sounded like a garage band. There was the batch that came out which were like a hardcore band, and then there was this kind of left field, avant-garde type stuff, like minimalist, more expansive sounding songs that came out as well. And so the first album and the first EPs really were kind of like the garage iteration of the band. And then the last album, Capri Sochante, is like the hardcore version. And then, yeah, then the next type of stuff hopefully is going to be the more kind of expansive, weirder stuff. So yeah, we have changed quite a lot, but it's not like that's happened overnight. It's been a planned thing from.
Let's take you right back to when did the band form? 2010?
So yeah, I think we did our first show in 2011, I think it was. But I started writing songs for St.Pierre in 2008, maybe 2009, probably 2009, I think. And then I moved to Bristol in August 2010, and then I met Zach and Sam, our original drummer, in the October, and then we started a band. I think we did our first show in February in 2010, or February, April. So yeah, so 2011 really is when we were a band. So
where did you join, Paddy? You've been there since day one?
No, 2012 I joined.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 years after I moved, yeah.
Yeah, that's 8 years ago. It's just
Still ages,
so long.
yeah. Feels like ages. So
Well, 8 years is quite long.
I mean, it does. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It feels like a lifetime ago. I see pictures of us from back then, and I'm like, I can't believe how young we looked, even though
How thin we were.
exactly. That one at Truck Festival, I think Paddy like put a picture of us pissing about in after we played a show at Truck Festival, and like we're all just. I think we all must have been vegetarian or something, or like or too poor to eat, because we looked like we were in a fucking indie band or something. Like, you know what I mean? Looking crazy. But
so
now,
when you started this band, what did you want to achieve? Was it just to see what happened? Was it just let's go out and do it?
I was in a band in North Wales that I joined. It's quite a long story, but I joined them when I was like 14, 15. And I was in that band for like 2 years. It was like a punk band. It was influenced by like Green Day and Pennywise and stuff like that.
What were they called?
They were called Homespun. Okay, I've got a tattoo. I've got my Homespun tattoo, and I loved it. You know, I was more into metal at that age, but I loved like the drummer was really good. The guitarist was really good, and he could sing, and we had actual songs, whereas like the band I'd been in high school, you know, we were shy and could barely play. So they were like real musicians, and I just loved it, and I was hooked. And then my parents moved us, not just me, as a family. Ship me off. Yeah, go on. So we moved to West Wales, and then I moved back to North Wales 4 years later to rejoin that band and start working with them. And there was like we got signed to a label, like a label in New York, but it became very much about we had to focus on our image, and we went from being a punk band to being kind of like this band that was kind of aping Kaiser Chiefs and Franz Ferdinand, and there was a lot of that to it, and I got really disheartened with it, and eventually we split up. And St.Pierre for me was just kind of like the alternative to that. I didn't really contribute anything creatively to that band. So if St.Pierre for me was like, you know what, I'm going to go to Bristol, I'm going to see if my songs are good enough, and I just want to do something which is the complete opposite of trying to please people in the industry. I just wanted to do something which was kind of unique, and at the time it kind of was, you know, there wasn't much like us going on, but it was what I wanted from it was just like an outlet, and it was kind of just to prove to myself that I was decent enough at songwriting to get a fan base.
Was you in previous bands, Paddy?
I was, yeah. I was up in Preston years ago, before Bristol, and there's quite a good scene up there. So I was in a couple of like surf bands and some rock bands and stuff, and eventually just found my way down to Bristol, and then heard of Pierre, I was booking shows at the time at the Mother's Ruin.
Okay.
And I was just looking around Bristol, just putting like databases together of bands, and I came across Pierre, and I was like, "Holy, this is pretty good. This is something I haven't."
He's got to be careful. He can't be too nice because I'll just be like.
So
that's going to happen anyway.
No.
So quite a few lineup changes over the years.
Yeah.
Various just people just disheartened or wanting to move on. Didn't like the Kaiser Chiefs sound.
Well, I mean, so the first I moved to Bristol with one of my best friends, Carl, who was the original guitarist who Paddy replaced, and Carl had recently, just before we moved, he'd recently met this girl and started seeing her. And she was living in Chester, so he was kind of long distance the whole time with her. And I think after a year, he just decided that it was more important for him to spend time and start a family and what have you. And and he's done that, and he's really happy now. And I think so they've just had a kid, and so that was the right move for him. Then others who've left, so like one, for reasons I won't go into, our first drummer left the band, which wasn't his choice, to be honest with you, but that's the truth. It's one of those things. Then who left after that, Paddy? Fletcher left.
He got Sammy J in, and then Fletcher left, didn't he?
So yeah, we got a new drummer. We had Sam for 2 years, and then Mark, who was the original bassist, he left. He actually lives with Paddy now. He left. Then we got Dave Larkin in, who recorded an album with us and had left before we released it. And then we released the album, and Sam, our drummer, left, and now we've got a guy called Pete from Max Raptor in. So yeah, I mean, I always loved the Fall, and they've always been a kind of influence on the band, but I certainly didn't. Having the amount of different members in was not something I was trying to emulate.
Do you remember your first rehearsal when you all got together and you tried to tell people? Because obviously you're the main songwriter, Damien.
I am, yeah.
So how was it on that first rehearsal when you tried to explain to people what you wanted?
Well, the thing was I had written probably about, no exaggeration, 250 songs.
Okay.
And recorded them on like this really shitty 8-track. They are some of the worst quality recordings you'll ever hear, and to add to that, some of the worst quality vocals you'll ever hear as well. Not much has changed in 10 years, but so the majority of the songs were already written and were already panned out. So how the first rehearsal started, Carl and I moved in with a guy called Johnny, who was from North Wales. He lived in Bristol. He had gone to university with Sam, our first drummer, and Zach, who's still in the band. And they came round for a game of poker. Sam was playing drums in a band with Zach. And Carl and I were just a bit cheeky. We're like, look, we've got this band, but we don't have a drummer. Would you mind coming to a rehearsal just so we can hear the songs? See if you can help us out. And then, to cut a long story short, Sam, after about 2 or 3 rehearsals, was like, I fucked that band off. Then Zach invited Carl and I round to his house, his flat, for a Halloween party, basically threw whiskey down my neck all night, and then sat me outside for a cigar and was like, mate, just so you know, I'm in your fucking band, and I don't care what you say, and I don't care what you do, I will play whatever. Sam's showed me these demos, and I fucking want in, and I'm going nowhere. So the first couple of rehearsals was like me on bass, Carl on guitar, Sam playing drums, and me singing. And then it was me on guitar, Carl on guitar, Zach playing bass. And then they started rehearsing with Fletcher. So I was working a lot, and they were rehearsing with Fletcher without any vocals. So we did our first show in the Hen and Chicken in Bedminster. And Fletcher, that was the first night I met Fletcher. And it was also the first time Fletcher had played those songs with anyone singing over them. So
That was your first gig.
that was our first gig. The first time I ever met Mark Fletcher was on the day of our first gig. I'd never met him before. So yeah, and yeah, it was fucking mental. Totally, like, just, and to be fair, that kind of typifies how we've conducted ourselves as a band for about 10 years. It's like, we'll sort it out. Paddy, have you
How long after that rehearsal, them early rehearsals, was that first gig?
It was fucking really, really quick. So Sam, our original drummer, was he was pretty much, in terms of like getting us out there, because I was shitting myself. I'd never sung before. I had no intention of being a singer. So I was like, fucking, we'll just rehearse and get better. Hang on, you just disappeared here. We'll rehearse and get better. And Sam was like, oh, I booked us a show. So now we have to get a bassist, and now we have to get ready for a show. So we started rehearsing as a band in November, December, and then the first show was in February, I think.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so it was really, I mean, it was fucking mental. We got played, BBC Introducing in Bristol played us before we played a show. And then after 2 shows, Tom Robinson had played us on BBC 6. And then after 10 shows, we were nominated for the introducing stage at Reading and Leeds. So the first kind of 6 months was fucking mental. And then it just died off and never came back.
Paddy, do you remember your first gig?
What was it? It was Horts.
It was, yeah.
It was really good. We just got really pissed. Really.
Yeah. It was good.
I remember the words of encouragement Damien gave me. He just turned around just as we started and went, "Don't fuck this up."
Frank Sinatra style. Don't do it.
Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed that show. But,
yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
So you got played on the radio.
Yeah.
What, these were tracks that finally end up on the Flesh EP?
No, these were, so no, it was Encore on the, no, so it was Encore got played. The Flesh EP was fucking madness that we'll get into in a bit, but yeah, it was just, I think there was a song called Encore, which is on the second EP. We put that on there, and USSA was played on there. There was a song called The Black Death that we had. The Black Death.
That's nice.
Yeah, had some good lyrics, that one, but it was just basically a fucking Bronx ripoff. But yeah, so that got played, and I think it was just you know, we were a lot heavier than a lot of the stuff that was happening in Bristol. So I think for like Rich and Sam, it kind of caught their attention a little bit.
So the Flesh EP did arrive in 2011. Where's the story behind that then?
What, the EP? Basically, Paddy will tell you, like, was it the Dunning-Kruger effect, where like you know, dumb people think they're fucking experts at everything. I've certainly been guilty of that for a long time. So I genuinely thought that I knew exactly what we were doing. I'd kidding myself that I had like a strategy. So the Flesh EP, I was like, right, we're going to have, remember I said there were 3 different types of St.Pierre?
Yeah.
Rather than just doing the first EP as the first iteration, my bright idea was we'll have a couple of songs that sound like the first iteration, a couple of songs that sound like the second iteration, and then the third fucking iteration as well. So the first song, Flesh, was supposed to be like the kind of avant-garde, expansive one. Then you had Ales from the Crypt, which is a garage song, Safe and Sound, which is a fucking hardcore song, a song called Innocent, which is more kind of expansive, and then Last Words of a Bent Cop, which is a McCluskey ripoff. So it was just like, rather than going for one thing and saying this is who we are, it was just a fucking myriad of mental songs put together. So yeah, it was a big miss. It was a fucking,
Is that the live sets at that time? Did they contain that sort of style as well?
yeah, we were fucking. We used to go. We had a song called "Heroin Chic Leopard Skin Print," which was a fucking really good song. I tried to pass that bass line off to McCluskey. I was like, "Fuck go." He's like, "Nah, I'm having that." But yeah, so Heroin Chic was like it was like my attempt to rip off College in Rock by McCluskey, and so we would go from like Safe and Sound, which is this like fucking like probably I'd go as far as to say still one of the heaviest songs we've ever had, and we would go from that into this like really kind of almost like disco indie songs. So yeah, we were always all over the place, which I think for some people that was a big turn on how eclectic you could tell our influences were, and how varied our songs were. But I think in terms of like managers or agents or marketing and stuff like that, it was just a complete mix of messages of what we were, what our identity was. And when you're in the industry, you need to have it, you know.
People want to, they want you. You almost
need
like
to know what you are.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't market a cloud, can you? Do you know what I mean? You need something tangible. So. When
you say you're the main songwriter, Damien, is it all your work, the songwriting?
The majority of it is. I mean, that's not to say. It's not to say like it's not a closed circuit. You know, it's not right. Wait here till I come up with an idea. It's not that. Like I will bring ideas in, and then sometimes, so with like Pierre Brassau, I think Paddy wrote the chorus to that. There's just loads of different stuff. Like people will chip in with like, okay, why don't we do this, or why don't we try this, or so it's kind of like I bring the ideas and then we mold it together, and then there are other times where there'll be ideas going around and maybe I'll kind of direct, do this for this many times, stop. And there are times where I've come in, we did a compilation album where we put a song in a compilation with the guys from Death Pedals, and I came down from having a cigarette and Paddy and Zach had written this absolute fucking banger, which was just ready to go. And I was like, do this again, just keep doing this, and then they went back to Pearl Jam riffs, so I was like, fuck these guys. But yeah, so no, it is, I do write the majority of the stuff, but the aim has always been to make it as kind of collaborative as possible, because it takes pressure off me, and when these guys are throwing ideas around, that's when I get more ideas. I like to bounce off stuff that people are doing. So
2013, everyone's entitled to my opinion.
Yeah,
it's a great title for an EP.
It's a fucking. Do you know what? I cringe at it now, only because, not because of the title or the songs. I fucking love that EP. I wish it sounded better. I wish we'd have recorded that EP with Sean, who did our first album, because it would have sounded amazing. The only reason I cringe is that I just think about what an opinionated prick I was, and like how fucking steadfast I was in being wrong about so many things. I was.
Yeah, but life's a learning curve, isn't it? I think I fucking love that title. I love that title of the EP.
Yeah.
One of the tracks on that EP was Call the Coroner, with a video directed by Mr. Talbot.
Indeed, yeah. Indeed.
Where did you meet Joe?
So it's I got to know him through the Golden Lion with Dev. I don't know if I've spoken to you about that before. So it's kind of like a hub up on Gloucester Road. But the first time I actually met him, I was out with a guy called Sean, who's like 6'11", and Joe used to DJ at a night at Thekla on Mondays, and I was working in charity fundraising, so my shifts didn't start till like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'd go out on a Monday night till 2 in the morning, and Joe would be DJing, and he used to put on like rival schools and at the drive-in and stuff like that, as well as some indie stuff. And then just by chance one night, I ended up getting a taxi back with him. And I think he invited these other lads back as well. And these lads were stood out. He gave his address to these two lads who were stood outside the taxi. And I think I was like a prick. And I went, guys, if you come back to this party, I'm going to fucking slap you about or something, like joking around. And then, yeah. So, and obviously knowing Joe, that's right up his fucking street. So, and then, yeah, that's how we met. And we became close through the Golden Lion and me filling in for Idols and stuff on guitar every now and then.
You did, didn't you? Filled in on the Brutalism tour. I
did, yeah. I'd done two shows with them prior to that. I think I did one in. It's quite funny because the first one I did was in the Isle of Man. And it was in this fucking massive theatre. So you went to the Isle of Man and there's posters of those guys everywhere. And then you go into this big theatre and there was about 200, it was like 2,000 people theatre and about 200 people showed up. There was fucking hardly anyone there. And then now you look at it and that's exactly the type of room that they fill piece of piss every night.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, and then I did one in Manchester and yeah, just a couple on their Brutalism tour.
How did Joe get involved with the direction of that video?
I don't know. I just think it's something we'd spoken about. So Joe did film studies in uni, I think.
Yeah.
Where he'd studied film, and I
think he watched film at uni. That's what the gist I get.
Is it? I thought he'd studied film. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he did. But when you talk to him about it, he just watched a lot of films.
Yeah, and it was something that, like, you know, we'd talk about a lot. We'd stay up in lock-ins and talk about, you know, I remember like having a massive debate with him and Bowen and Dev about like how Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker wasn't a true portrayal of a psychopath, and it's easy to play a psychopath. We were always talking about those types of things, as well as music. It was like film was a big thing, and then I'm in the Mayday video.
Yeah,
one of the guys with like the fucking tights over my face.
Right.
And we just got talking from that. So I think I was like, look, I've got this idea. This is what I want to do. And he wanted to kind of get his name out there for doing videos as well. So we just did it. I got pissed and made a tit out of myself. So.
In public?
Yeah, for just standard practice. Yeah.
The first full album, 100 Years and a Day, arrives in 2015.
Mm.
How long have you been in the band by then? This is about 2 years for you, Paddy. 3 years?
3 years, yeah, 3 years.
So you was involved in the recording that album?
I was, yeah. I can barely remember it, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was.
Was it recorded?
Huh?
Was it recorded as an album?
No, it was originally supposed to just be a 4-track.
Mm.
We went for 3 days in Rockfield.
It's 3 days. Fucking hell, I forgot.
And I think by the end of like 2 a.m. on the first day, I think we'd finished it.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much. Yeah.
Got up the next day. It's like, oh, let's just do an album then. So we just.
It was before that. I think they spent the most time. I think they spent about 3 or 4 hours setting up, and then we'd done three songs then by about 3 o'clock, and I just turned to Sean. I was like, look, we've only got one more song to do, and 2 more days here. What should we do? And he's like, oh, I should just do an album. And we were all like, yeah, we'll just do a fucking album. And he's like, well, why not? We're here. Let's do an album. So then and it was fucking brilliant. Like, it was honestly, because none of us had given any thought to like doing an album. And then it was one of the, in terms of like my musical career, like it was probably the most exciting 3 days I've ever had, because it was like, this is fucking amazing. Let's do this. Let's try this. I wrote a song there. So like the title track, I wrote it there. And we just Sam had to learn 2 new songs because he'd never played them. It was fucking brilliant.
So there's 8, 9 tracks on that album?
11, I think.
11?
Yeah. So, and we went in to do 4. So we went in to do 4. Then I had to write one, and then Sam had to learn 2. So we only had like another 3 songs that everyone knew and was happy to go on an album. But yeah,
so a lot of that was played live.
It was all live. I didn't even have headphones on or anything. I literally had, these guys were in one half of the studio, and then on the side closer to the booth, I just had a screen up with a microphone and a monitor in front of me. That's why my vocals sound so shit on it, because not because I can't sing, but it was literally just, you know, fucking go through it and do live takes. I think with like A Rag to a Red Bull, that was written in the studio as well. That was Sam when he was warming up on his drums, just did that beat, and then in the booth I got him to do that, tap it out in his hands, and I played that riff. And I'd written, just a couple of days before, I'd written a song about getting fucked up in the Lion with Dev, but I never go home when I should. If I could, then I would, but I don't, so fuck it. And I'd written these lyrics down, and I just said, like, just play that. I got Paddy to play it. And so the first time I ever sung those lyrics over that song was so the first time we ever played it, and the first time I ever sung it was that take. That's on the album, first time, which is pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
So that did you tour that album? When you walked out there after 3 days, you think, fuck, we got an album, what are we going to do with this? What was it? Did you mark it as an album? Did you go and tour tour that album?
I don't think we toured, did we?
No, we did a bit. There was a few shows that we grouped together and called a tour, but like
that's all you need.
We kind of fucked it, because Sean, halfway through, I think it was halfway through the second day, Sean just stopped. Like, he was playing a song and he's doing a little bit of live mixing, and he stopped and turned around and went, I feel like I'm fucking we're doing something special here. And he had worked with like Gil Norton, he had like the Pixies albums and stuff like that. And he was like, Gil said to me, when this will happen to you at some point, where you'll feel like you'll just know that you're doing something special, and it'll just be really apparent. And he just fucking stopped mid-mixing this song and turned around and went, this is fucking the most vital shit I've ever heard. This is special. So we all came out of there thinking we just fucking written and recorded Raw Power by the Stooges. Like, you know, we were like, this is it. We're fucking changing the game here. There's absolutely no way that no labels are going to not pick this up, because it's fucking all anyone's looking. Everyone is waiting to hear an energetic punk band with some fucking some humorous, you know, some humor and fucking some social commentary, and no one was like, no one fucking was. I think they were just maybe not in our how we were putting it forward, evidently, but yeah, I think we got turned down by like 8 or 9 labels, and rather than just having a plan B of, if we don't have a label on board by this time, let's do it. We spent fucking 18 months kidding ourselves, you know, because we were still, even though we'd been a band for about 3 or 4 years, we were still wet behind the ears. We didn't have a fucking clue. We had no help at all. We had no one guiding us. So we were like, of course it's normal for a record label not to respond after 6 months after hearing your album. Of course it is. They're just getting around to it. And so by the time we'd released 100 Years a Day, we were kind of like, well, let's not spend too much time touring this. Let's just get on to doing the next album, which in hindsight was a mistake. But I think if we hadn't have done that, I think a lot of us would have got a lot more disgruntled with the band. You know?
You still play those songs, a lot of those songs live?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were playing songs off the second album at the fucking album launch for the first one. That's how long we waited.
Okay.
We'd written half an album before we'd even released that fucking the first one.
So your second album arrives, when was that? Last year, 2019.
Is it last year? They just thought, like,
it was last year. last year.
thrown me
Feels
out.
like ages.
About the summer of last year. So that was like what 4 years between
Yeah.
that very quick and rushed album you did in 3 days to the second album, which seemed like it took 3 years to happen.
It did, yeah. Well, and that was it. It doesn't. Yeah, it was. We recorded it. I think we did all the live takes in 5 days. I think back at Rockfield in Wales. So we got all of that down, and then I had to go and I had to come back and forth to London to do vocals with Sean, and then I blew my voice on the first day of vocals that I had, because I'm an idiot who didn't know how to warm up. Yeah, and then Sean, pretty much as soon as we finished doing the vocals, Sean was asked to do the Who's new album. He was asked to do Roger Daltrey's album. He was asked to do, he did Shame's first album. So he just became really, really fucking busy, and all of those guys pay a lot more money than we had paid him. So his priority was, he had to get those finished. So it's not like, there's no hard feelings or anything like that. It was just one of those things that happened. But yeah, it just took it took years off me mentally. I don't know about Paddy. I don't know if Paddy wants to fucking talk about it, because the frustration wasn't mine and mine alone. It was, we were all fucking depressed as fuck for a long time because of how long it took.
Paddy, were you playing a lot of that album live long before that album arrived? Most of it?
Most of it was live, yeah. We were touring it quite heavily, really. A lot of the first album songs had sort of died off, and in preparation for this potential release that was coming, constantly coming, but never arriving, we sort of stacked the set with new stuff, with the second album stuff, which was a lot of fun to play. But there was a little bit of head scratching from the audience at times because they're still all waiting for this album to come out.
I remember the year that we released that album, or the year after, playing The Idiot's Guide to Music at 2000 Trees, and people coming up to me afterwards asking me where they could get that song. And that was fucking 4 years until we released it, 4 years,
It's a lot heavier. It's a heavier album than the stuff you were recording earlier.
Yeah.
Why the change?
It was that's just how it was going. It was always, the plan was always to do a hardcore album, and it became really apparent that we were a better hardcore band than we were a garage band.
Okay.
Only because, and this isn't just me self-deprecating to get people going, oh no, you're all right. But like, I genuinely feel like my voice, I had to relearn how to sing on the second album, and I think my voice sounds infinitely better than it did.
Where does that vocal come from, Damien?
It was I started singing from my chest instead of my throat. So if you listen to the first album, I'm straining. It's all vocal fry. It's all up here and in my neck. Whereas on the second album, I sit on it a lot more. My shoulders are down, and it's from my chest. It's more barking and kind of screeching, which is more, which suits the music more. But I had to do it because we would go on tour and I'd just lose my voice after the second night. So it was,
because your scream is quite something. What is that? You describe it? Your vocal scream.
Some of it, yeah. That's a scream.
So that was self-taught. You just sat there one day and thought, right, I'm going to go for this.
Wow, yeah. I mean, it was only, like I said, I had no intention of being the singer. So I sang and screamed on the demos just because I wanted to hear those songs, and I wanted to give it to someone who could actually do that and go, okay, do that, but sound good. But my nan was just kind of like, obviously doesn't like our music, obviously, but she was just like, no one's going to sing those words with the same conviction as you are, because you know what it's about and you wrote them. So you should do it. Yeah. So
And you do enjoy being a front man, though.
well, I do, but you know, it's not. I say this all the time to people. You know, it's not. It's nice. And again, this is not me. I've done self-deprecation. This isn't me humble bragging or anything. But you know, when people compliment me for my performances and stuff like that, that's really nice. And obviously, I'm grateful for that. But all I genuinely, I'm not just saying this, all I give a shit about is being a good songwriter. That's and having being in one of the best bands in the world. That's all I fucking care about. Like the performance side of it is secondary to the songs, and you know.
That's good though, because I think you make it look quite effortless.
No, thank you.
I think as a unit, I mean, I've not seen you a lot. I've seen you probably 4 or 5 times now, but you are a solid fucking band, and you know you play so well and so tight together. Probably because you've been playing them songs so fucking much.
Yeah,
but you play well. But as a front man, I'm not sucking your toes now, but you are a fucking brilliant front man.
Thank you very much.
You love that crowd, and you play that crowd, and that crowd thoroughly enjoy watching you do your craft.
Well, thank you very much. It's like, it's, you know, who'd have thought just being horrible to crowds would pay off. That insulting your crowd would.
Yeah, but yeah. So 2020 arrived, and then this is obviously the first full year after this album.
Yeah.
And then the fucking virus turns up and fucks everything up completely.
Yeah.
What was the plan? You must have had plans this year. Go and play that album to death and fucking ram it down people's throats.
Yeah, we did. We really did. Yeah, we really did. We had a UK tour. We had a European tour. We were in the hat to tour with some fucking amazing bands that we love from America. Not that was confirmed or anything, but we were in there, which is fucking brilliant for us, you know, because that's never happened before. So yeah, there was really, you know, and yeah, we had such a good response to it, and you know, Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die fucking is a fan of our band, and I would say collectively, Every Time I Die is probably not the biggest influence, but I'd say it's probably the only influence that all of us, it's the one band that all of us in the band would agree is a great band, or one of the few bands that we were unanimously go, that's a fucking great band. It would be amazing if we could do something with them. So this guy who, you know, informed how he's one of the people who informed how I write lyrics, was kind of singing our praises, and yeah, and then so there was, off the back of that, we were kind of like, yeah, this is going to be a great year. We're actually going to do this properly now, and we just had it once again fucking the rug pulled out from us.
Well, I mean, that is not just for you, for fucking everyone.
No, exactly.
It's been horrific. Yeah. So what's the plan, Paddy? What's the plan for next year? If we can all go to doctors and get this fucking virus, and we're all good to go.
Yeah,
is the plan just to go and fucking start where you couldn't finish this year?
Yeah, pretty much. We're talking to an agent at the moment about trying to get some extra shows, and you know, that European tour's looking like it's coming back on board as the UK one. Festival slots are starting to fill up as well now, so hopefully, fingers crossed, 2021 is the year for us.
Yeah, and to be honest,
won't we? It's St.Pierre luck, so it won't be. Nothing will happen.
I mean, when you name your band after a place where everything goes fucking wrong, you bring it on yourself, like, you know, like the next band I'm in is going to be called like Unbridled Fortune or something like that. So, yeah.
What's the plan? Another album?
Yeah. So I did a post. I think it was Christmas time. Was it last?
You said it's going to be your last album.
Yeah, I said it might be our last album, and because that was kind of the plan. That was the plan, to do 3. But the way I thought about it was, and we've discussed this already in length, is that, you know, I've written the majority of the material for these 3 albums, so that can be the trilogy. That can be my personal trilogy. So this is the idea that I had for St.Pierre. I brought it from North Wales to Bristol, and we fucking cooked it, and baked it, and put some ice and sugar on it. And there's the fucking 3-album cake. And that's, you know, submitted to history. Then we can move on and do other stuff in terms of St.Pierre. So like, I want to write more. I really want to fucking, my thing now for St.Pierre, we're not going to get massive. It's just impossible for us to get massive. But what we can do is just have a fucking incredible back catalogue of really outstanding releases with a great deal of thought and a great deal of attention given to writing exciting music. Because I think, you know, fuck it, I'll say it. I think when it comes to heavy music, I think it was said in some of the reviews, I think we are around the top of exciting music, non-generic
I agree.
music, and I fucking want to drive that home. So the next album is kind of the theme, and the sound is there or thereabouts, and then what happens after that is I want to take it fucking miles away, you know, like Radiohead with Kid A or whatever. Not that we're going to do an electronic album, but I want to just go like, where the fuck can we take this? Because what I realized is that the plan was fuck St.Pierre off and then go and do that type of stuff as something else. But there's absolutely no reason why that should be the case. St.Pierre is whatever the fuck we decide it is. And if we want to go out and do an album where it's just strings and, you know, me singing like the dude out of Alice in Chains, then we'll fucking do that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Listen, guys, thank you very much for your time. We've waffled now for almost 50 minutes, so we need to wrap it up a little bit. I'm going to take you through my quickfire round because no one gets away with it. It's pretty. Well, you'll see. You'll see. Don't expect the world. That's all I'm saying.
No, take it in turns, though. You go one.
Yeah, we'll take it in turns. Damien, we go you first, and then straight to Paddy. Right. Top of your head, no thinking, straight off. Damien, what's your favourite St.Pierre track?
Oh, you fucker. 100 Years a Day.
Paddy, same question. Favourite St.Pierre track?
Monetize. It's a new one. You won't have heard it yet.
Yeah, fucking banger, Paddy. Paddy, it's a banger. It's a banger.
What's your favourite fish?
Michael.
Oh, nice. Patrick, your dream support slot. If you could support anyone, who would it be?
It'd be Every Time I Die.
Damien, your favourite film of all time?
Oh, I've got three. I've got On the Waterfront, Marlon Brando, There Will Be Blood, and recently the new Macbeth with Michael Fassbender. Those are the three. Amazing.
Thank you. Patrick, James Bond, yes or no?
No.
Damien, your favourite foot?
Favourite foot?
Yeah.
Long.
Paddy, your top of your bucket list?
Swim with a blue whale.
Oh, you
swim up. You say swim with or swim up?
Damien, what's the best album ever made?
Oh, mate.
Come on, top of your head. What's the first one you thought of?
Do you know what? I thought James Brown live at the Apollo.
Okay, that's fine. We'll take that. Paddy, your superpower?
I'd be able to read very, very quickly.
Like Darren Brown. He can do that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Damien, what's your favourite smell?
Come on.
It's a genuine question.
Probably petrol. I love the smell of petrol. It's delicious.
Paddy, what's Damien's worst habit?
Petrol in his shirt when he's talking.
I can't do it. That's like it's because I'm so broad. My shoulders because I'm so hench. My t-shirts actually ride back. Look, see. So they go up and then they ride up and then I have to pull them down. Yeah.
Damien, Blur or Oasis?
Blur all day.
Fuck off. Wrong answer.
Mad me. You're mad.
Paddy, what posters did you have on your bedroom wall as a teenager?
Wow. I Dimebag Darrell, Pantera, Sepultura, Korn.
All the classics.
Yeah, all the classics.
Damien, Marmite, yes or no?
Yeah, all day.
Well done. Paddy, the best band ever?
Best band ever?
Mm.
Holy I'm going to say Pearl Jam, just to annoy Damien.
Wonderful band.
They are a wonderful band. Yeah, you're actually
They are
right.
amazing.
Wonderful.
Damien, your spirit animal?
Sloth.
Paddy, your greatest achievement to date?
Oh my God.
It's been alive, isn't it?
Oh God. I don't know. Being part of a wonderful scene and wonderful people.
Humble. Well done. Damien, who would play you in a film?
Idris Elba.
Paddy, what's your favourite smell?
Freshly baked bread.
What was the rising inflection for that? It's like you were asking Brian if it was. Like, is it freshly baked bread, Brian? I don't know.
It's the classic answer. It's either that or coffee.
It is a brilliant smell. It is a brilliant smell.
Damien, your dream support slot, who would it be?
I owe you one, Paddy. I do owe you one. So I'm going to go with Deftones because Paddy hates them. And we could do a world tour round the disc with them. So,
Paddy, what's the best album ever made?
Oh my God. I'll say Beck Mellow Gold.
Ooh, did not see that coming.
Ooh,
that's a fucking curveball.
Damien, Dave Grohl, yes or no?
Which era?
No, just a general Dave Grohl, yes or no?
Oh yeah, he's a good guy, isn't he? So I'll give him a yeah. Although Falco swears that Butch Vig should be in prison for what he's done to rock music, and I kind of have to agree. So.
Paddy, your favourite foot, left or right?
Right, definitely.
Damien, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Do you know what? I'm quite conservative when it comes to eating food. I think I've eaten curried bugs before, like curried insects or like crickets. My brother had some crickets that I ate once.
Is that a Welsh thing?
No, he just got. It was like a Halloween thing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you get like spice grubs and stuff like that.
Paddy, Blur or Oasis?
I have to say Oasis.
Paddy knows.
He knows fuck all.
Damien, top of your bucket list.
Top of my bucket list?
Yep.
I would. I don't. I would. I don't know.
Quick fire.
I know. Quick fire. I would probably like to go to the moon. I'd love to go to space.
Okay.
And
that's up there, isn't it? Paddy, Marmite, yes or no?
No.
Fuck off. Yes. You need to learn to eat that stuff. Damien, the posters on your bedroom wall as a team.
Oh, yes, yeah. I had Kurt Cobain, Stereophonics, Limp Bizkit, Korn,
all the classics again.
Yeah, just anything that was in Kerrang. Like.
Stereophonics in Kerrang, or was that just a Welsh thing again?
No, they were in Kerrang. Were they? Yeah. So the first album, not so much, but when they released Bartender and the Thief, and it had, they were in Drop D then, so it was kind of, so they managed to get into Kerrang. Yeah.
Paddy, who would play you in a film?
Danny DeVito.
Damien, the best band ever. Oh,
I've got to say McCluskey. I know I'm biased, But fuck, yeah, McCluskey the best band ever.
Paddy, spirit animal.
Woodlouse.
Damien, what's your greatest achievement today?
I would say same as Paddy, like the friendships that I have made through taking a plunge and coming to Bristol. So, and the many friendships that have been made around our band as well. That's probably it.
Paddy, your favourite film of all time?
Oh my God. Avengers.
You're mad.
The third one.
Oh. I wish I'd not asked that now.
You don't mean that.
Paddy, Damien, what's Paddy's worst habit? Watching shit films, probably.
Fucking hell. He's a messy
Paddy's worst
fucker.
habit.
He is a messy fucker.
Is he?
Fletcher's definitely been in that room today and gone like, no, you can't go on. You can't go on. You can't go on telly with it messy, Paddy. Let me clean it. Yeah. He is a messy fucker.
Paddy, cats or dogs? Cats or dogs?
Actually, sorry.
Go on.
I've just thought of it. Paddy's worst fucking habit is eating egg mayo sandwiches in the van. I've nearly fucking kicked him out. Like I told him, I was in the back and I was like, who the fuck is eating egg mayo sandwich? And he was like, oh, it's me. I was like, throw out a window and fucking throw yourself out while you're at it, you disgrace. Yeah. Egg sandwiches in the van.
That's not good.
Correct.
Paddy, look at his little face. Look, he likes them.
I love egg sandwiches.
Yeah, not in the fan.
Paddy, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Damien, superpower?
Superpower. I'd like to go back in time, be able to time travel.
Nice. Paddy, the strangest thing you've ever eaten? Egg sandwiches in a van.
It's the most dangerous thing.
I may have once eaten human flesh by accident.
What?
But,
what do you mean by accident?
Hang on. Yeah, I know this is quick fire, but you're going to have to
expand.
You're going to have to expand it.
You tripped, fell over and hit someone.
You're something like that. No, I'm not quite sure what happened, but I think a body may have been disposed of at a takeaway.
Oh.
And it was a takeaway we used to go to years ago.
Well, like Sweeney Todd type thing.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely eaten cat by mistake.
Have you?
The same thing, like a Chinese restaurant where I grew up was that we used all the time was like they were found with like 10, 15 cats skinned in the back. Like it's fucking delicious it was.
Damien, your last question. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Big fucking loser.
Paddy, same question to you. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Lovable, hunky, legend.
I'd agree. That's what I was thinking for you, Paddy.
Let's replay the favour. Damien, describe Paddy in 3 words.
Oh, wow. Unsung is one. Diligent. And driven. Yeah, so unsung, diligent, and driven.
Paddy, do you want the same question? Describe Damien in 3 words.
There's one.
Loyal, moral, and loud.
True.
Damien and Paddy from the St.Pierre Snake Invasion, thank you very much for your time.
No, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure, mate.
Thank you very much.
I've enjoyed that. And I hope one day soon we can all go out and party again.
Oh, mate, I can't wait. Honestly, I'd love it.
I thought I'm missing tinnitus. I'm missing waking up in the morning with my ears ringing.
I'm missing the anxiety of being out past when I should be. I miss being out and hearing the birds behind the curtains, knowing that it's light, knowing that I'm in the shit. I miss it. I miss it dearly. So.
Hopefully, not long, 6 months or whatever. We'll be there next summer. We'll be partying. I'll be up in Bristol. Whenever your first comeback show is in the Bristol, I'll be there. And we'll have a party.
Yeah. We'll have to we'll do a big old piss up at the ruin.
Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Have a lovely evening. Damien, have a lovely evening.